Hey y'all, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to be getting into all the books I read in May. Now, last year, I don't think I finished any books in May because I had so many trips and so many things going on, and this May was no different, but I did actually read some things. And all the books that I read this month were giving audiobook. They were definitely audiobook. Just because I was moving around a lot, packing, graduations, traveling, all kinds of stuff, and just busy all the time. So I was like, this month I'm going to try to do something different and start out with audiobooks instead. And that was definitely the right decision. So we're going to go through the books that I read this month. Here we go. Starting out with Dear Debbie. All right, this is by Frida McFadden. I started my month out with this book because I felt myself getting into like a reading slump towards the end of April. Like everything I picked up, I just wasn't able to like sink my teeth into. I tried a couple different books and like nothing was just doing it for me. I'm still in the middle of a few books that I'm not going to talk about here because I didn't complete them. So I want to be able to give a full review. And I just like haven't been able to, at that time, I wasn't able to just finish a book. And I was like, I need to finish something so that way this doesn't turn into like a full reading slump. Because I actually have a lot of things I'm looking forward to reading. I was looking forward to reading this month and going into June. So I was like, let's nip this in the bud right now. So usually a Frida McFadden book, a good thriller, that's not too long can usually like get me back into the swing of things. And so I've been wanting to read Dear Debbie. As y'all know, I don't be knowing what anything's about, but I'm trying something a little bit different. This month's review. I'm going over a few things that I wrote down while I was reading because I want to share with you guys some more of my notes. And when you read a book and you read as many books as I do, you forget like what you read and all the details. You remember how it left you feeling, and that's usually what I share with you guys, like how the book made me feel, what my rating was based on the feeling, and that's usually like what works for me. And I think you guys like it too. But I also want to be able to give you sometimes a little bit of my feelings as I'm reading the book and things that I'm noticing. Now, this is gonna lean more into spoilers, so I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do this all the time, but want to be able to share it with you this time and see how it goes, see how it felt, and see if you guys like it. So y'all let me know. But for Dear Debbie, I ended up giving it a 3.5, solid 3.5 in my book. Solid 3.5. I really enjoyed it. It did get me at my reading slump, so shout out to Miss Frida. Okay, love her down. But yeah, throughout the book, as y'all know, if you've read a lot of Frida McFadden books, there's always some twists and turns, and she keeps you on your toes, and it's just fast paced, which is exactly what you get with Dear Debbie. I definitely have some gasp, like like moments, which is what you need when you're reading one of her books. So that was very pleasing to me. Okay, now into a few spoilers. Now, the mistress, she really made me very upset because how are you going to go to an event with Debbie? Now, you already are getting a feeling she might be a little off her rocker, but then you put it together in your head, or you have a very good reason to believe that she has poisoned her so-called friends at this event, and you think, you know what, this is the lady I'm going to continue to mess with. I know I am having sex with her husband, and I'm going to keep doing it. You know what? Yeah, if I would never do something like this to begin with. But if I was, the moment I see, oh, you are playing on a different playing field, sister, you out here poisoning people, I'm all set. That man is, no man is worth that. Not my life. And so that irritated me. But I'm like, you know what? That's why you get what you get. Because you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That's exactly why. So that irritated me. And that's fine. Like I said, it was cool. But I was just like, girl, that don't even make no sense. She is clearly not well. You need to remove yourself from the situation. So that was irritating. So that was my main point that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so still limited spoilers for those of you who like my limited spoilers. Okay. So yeah, that was crazy. And then there was, like I said, I had those few gasp moments where she put some big twists in there that I did not expect. And kind of the way that she built that up, if you know the cadence of how her stories usually go, it kind of was aligned with that in my opinion. But those big twists towards the end, I was like, oh, okay, and it kind of made more sense towards the end because I was trying to figure out, because a part of the book is these letters that are called Dear Debbie, and so you're trying to figure out how those all tie in, and when she finally makes it make sense, I was like, okay, Frida, I see you, sister. So I really enjoyed this book. If you're looking for something that can, one, get you out of a reading slump, two, give you a good story, a good thrilling vibe, this was it for me. And it's short too. I think the audiobook was maybe 8 or 9 hours if I remember correctly. So I think it's definitely worth your time, and just a quick read to kind of just get you going. All right, next up, I have Yellowface. This has been on my TBR for some time. I know a lot of people have read it and said it was good. So I was like, you know what? It popped up on Libby for, it was available. And I was like, you know what? This is perfect. I'm going to read it. So after I finished Dear Debbie, I went straight into Yellowface. My first note, supreme hateration going on in this book. The hater level is at an all-time high. I've never seen hating done in such a strong way. Juniper, our main character, is elite hateration. She is on a level of hate that is just so high. Anyways, so that was my first note. After I started getting into the book a little bit, I said, "Oh, you're just a big fat hater." Got it. All right. So that's the first thing. Two, the first chapter, really good. It hooked me in, and I was already like excited to read just because I've heard other people's reviews of it. But that first chapter, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna like this." I'm in, and I did end up liking it. I believe I gave it. Let me see how many stars I gave it. Hold on. I gave it 4 stars. To give you some brief context, there is a main character. Her name is Juniper. She's a white woman. She is an author. She's a writer, right? And then she's really close friends, or seemingly really close friends, with a very popular Asian writer. Asian writer passes away. There's more details to that. Read the book if you haven't already. She passes away, and for some reason, Juniper has access to a draft of the person who passed away, her book that has not been sent out to anybody else, right? And she takes it and she makes it her own. Okay, that's like the first thing. And so I won't go into more details on that because I've already given you more spoilers than I usually do just with that overview. But there was a line, I set that up just to tell you about this line. There was a line at the end of chapter 3 where she's basically saying, like, she's kind of dealing with the feelings and the guilt and different emotions surrounding her decision to take this person's book, especially as a white woman stealing an Asian person's story. And the story is about something that is not dealing with a white person. So there's a lot of layers to that. And she's having to she's dealing with her feelings, and we're getting to see her inner monologues and thoughts about what she's doing. And she kind of tries to rationalize it and make it make sense and make it right so that it could sit well with her spirit. And it just doesn't, because what you're doing is wrong, right? And she's terrible. And I don't read a ton of books where I don't like my main character, and I did not like her. And that was actually, it wasn't like a disgusting, I want to close the book, I don't like her. It was just like, you're hating so hard, you're going through what you're going through, and I just really need to see how this is going to play out for you, because you're crazy. But at the end of chapter 3, she's basically like just talking it out, and she's saying that she's justified in stealing. Athena is the person who passed away. She's justified in stealing Athena's book. And this is good because Athena, a person of color, all right, is paying Juniper, the white lady, reparations. I said, okay, girl. She's like, oh yeah, this is good. This makes sense. Like, she should be paying me reparations. I said, as a white woman? Huh. Okay. And so it was just funny the way that and I'm sure that, like I said, she's obviously not a good person, but the way that we sometimes rationalize things with ourselves to make them make sense, like, oh, this is good. Now, we don't do it on this level. This is different. This is a different situation. But that was just an interesting thing to see. And I really laughed, like, out loud when I was reading the book, listening to the book. I was like, okay. Why did I feel like I had to put my actual laugh in there? Y'all know what I meant. Anyways, okay, so I want to read you one of the notes that I wrote about it while I was listening. And I said, it's so interesting to see how Juniper and her book team, because like I said, she steals this book, right? She steals the book and it becomes a success. So she gets all the accolades and fame and stuff like that. So this is like a part that's leading up to before the book is released, right? But it's an anticipated release already. And I was saying that it's interesting to see how she and her book team push back on sensitivity readers and notes that basically point out what the reader already know. Reader being, us reader. It's wild for a white woman to be writing a book about Asian culture and stories. Like, it's one thing to steal the book, but you don't even want Asian voices to help share the book in a way that makes sense. Questionable. No, you just want the book to be edited in a way that's good fit for everyone being that it can be enjoyed by white people as well. And I feel like every book is not meant to be a fit for every single person. Like, that's just not what it's supposed to be. And it seemed like the smart thing to do when you've already stolen a person's book and you know that person is not white, you've already stolen their book. So it's just like, it would, in my mind, I was like, doesn't it make sense to add voices in that can help make the story make more sense for people who the book is actually written for. Like, you know what I'm saying? But no, she was like, no, we just want to make it for everybody. Every book is not for everybody, and that's okay. So that was just like a frustrating thing to, as I was watching it happen, it was just frustrating for me. I was like, this is stupid. Like, why would you not want that? But once again, don't like her. I don't like her thought processes, and this all makes sense for the kind of character and person that she is. But yeah, I was just saying what I said was it's crazy because I think everyone can engage with and appreciate art and literature, no matter what their race is. But not all art needs to be made with the purpose of everyone getting it or making it easy to understand. Like, that's okay. And then she was even, here we go back to the hateration. She was like, she even highlights this by saying how she'd be so annoyed that in Athena's other stories, she liked to make her readers work for it, like by using authentic Asian names and not translating certain phrases to English. Like, that's her culture. She don't gotta make it for everybody else to understand. And if you want to understand, do the work and look it up. Like, what? I don't know. But like, once again, this is just me getting my frustration and grievances out about how much I disliked Juniper and how terrible she is. Um, Now, I will say, even though I said what I said and I stand behind that, she did have some moments of realization of how crazy this is and how wrong and what a bad decision this was. And even either way, she still saw it through. She did what she did, but I appreciated that the author gave us those little moments of, okay, she sees it. She's not completely oblivious. She understands that this is wrong. And she understands that even as the time goes by and the book is doing well and all the things happen, you're still wrong. And this is still a bad decision. You still stole someone else's work. So I did appreciate those moments as well. All right. So yeah, you see, I'm getting a little excited about it because, like I said, I enjoyed the book. It was very frustrating to read and watch this person's thought process behind doing something so unethical and so terrible to do to someone, especially in death. My God, just crazy. But I did enjoy it. And like I said earlier, I enjoyed reading a story where I did not like my my main character. I think that really makes me think a little bit differently about them as a person. I think that um I have to work a little bit harder to stay with the story because usually I'm like, I don't even care about this. You suck. But I wanted to understand the story she was telling herself, and I think that RF Kwan did a great job of explaining that. And even like the last chapter, her like stream of consciousness that was so delusional. I love the way that was written. Like, that's something that I would love to read in the physical copy, so I would need to go buy it so I can kind of look through it again, because I feel like I might have missed some stuff. Like, it was a really great book. Now that I'm thinking about it, do I want to increase my rating? I might do that. I might go from 4 to 4.5. Awesome book, loved it. I hope you enjoyed my review of this hater ass book. Next up is Black Book. Yeah, this has been on my TBR also for a long time, and this was another book. So what I was doing was I was on Libby looking at all the available audiobooks that were on there, and all the ones that were on my list of my want to read, and these were all popping up. So it just worked out perfect for me to be able to like find all these old books that I wanted to get to that I just haven't had a chance to read yet. But anyways, Black Book, loved it. First of all, if you have not read this book, I do recommend that you listen to the audiobook. It was such a good audiobook. I love the narrator's voice. It was perfect. I feel like it really matched well with who this character is. It had all these different sound effects, and it just made the story very immersive. So I definitely recommend listening to the audiobook if you do want to read it. So basically, this book follows Buck, who he's named that by the company he ends up working for. But anyways, he is working at Starbucks. He's leading the pack there. And I'm saying this part because I really like the way it was like a full circle moment where he is basically the head guy in charge there. And he runs the Starbucks. And then basically all the business people come in and out, the Starbucks doing their thing, whatever. He ends up getting in contact, or he ends up having a little interaction with one of the business people, and the business person offers him a job at his company to like leave Starbucks. I can tell you're way better than that. You can do this, da, da, da. Okay, cool. Ends up going to work for this company called Someone. All right. And he's selling, it's like a sales thing, but it's for mental health for companies. So he's talking to different companies. He's selling them these different resources to incorporate mental health things into their company and stuff like that. Right. So that's what he's doing. Now, in this environment, which is so ironic, which I really enjoyed when I realized. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Um, he's selling, like I said, he's selling this mental health stuff to these companies and all that kind of stuff to help their employees out. But the company he works for is inherently just toxic. It's a toxic, toxic, terrible working environment, and you'll see it when you read it, especially like the listening to it. They were yelling and screaming in the audiobook, and I really, like I said, it made you feel like you were in there, so I really enjoyed it. But I was like, ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. This is crazy. And so, one, to see Buck stay in the situation, stay there, which I understood why. He was coming from a job where he wasn't making as much money or he didn't have as much opportunity, like, but he was being treated terribly here. But he also saw an opportunity for him to make a lot of money and support his family, things of that nature, right? But something else I really enjoyed about the book is like he's living. I forgot, I know they're in New York. I forgot right now off the top of my head where he lives at, but in his community where he lives and where he grew up at, there's different people who kind of like help support the story, but there's basically like this wise man. I think his name was Mr. Wiley Cat, and he would give him like life lessons and little things that kind of are foreshadowing a lesson that he that Wiley Cat tried to teach him first before he had to experience it. But with the way that most of life goes, you have to bump your head and experience the thing before you really understand what that wise person told you all those years ago. And he does a good job of kind of like, while the cat will say the lesson, he'll say what it is and he'll give him the information. And then it will go to Buck kind of processing that information and saying, like, yeah, Wily Cat told me. I ain't get it though. Basically, every single time he would share something, he would be like, oh, yeah, that's a good lesson. But then he would completely ignore it, make the mistake, and then realize after, which happens. So I thought that was really interesting. And like I said, again, love the way this audiobook was set up. Um, Overall, all the different voices for all those characters were just so different and so good. So like I said, listen to the audiobook. And like, going along with that, I don't know if y'all have seen Limitless. I love that movie. But it's kind of told from that perspective of addressing the reader, right? Because even in this book, it kind of starts off with him kind of setting the scene of why he's telling the story and what he's going to tell us and what he's going to teach us through the story, right? So I kind of like that idea of talking to directly to the reader, letting us know what to expect, and kind of foreshadowing each thing that's going to happen. I just really liked the way the story was set up in that way, because you don't get that a lot of times where the author or where the main character is speaking directly to you. I haven't read a lot of books that have that, so I really like that perspective as well. So one main thing that I noticed, these are two things, and it won't make full sense unless you read it, but there was like a cyclical thing that's occurring. So like I said earlier, in the beginning, he was like the head guy in charge at Starbucks. He was running everything. And he went through this whole thing, worked at this new place. It's toxic. There's a lot of things that are occurring that I'm leaving out. But he went through all that, started out at the bottom, did all the things just to end up being the head guy in charge here. Like, and having the same, he kind of talked about like, it's the same thing, just different. And this different comes with a lot more strife, with a lot more difficulties that he's facing here. And so I thought that was really interesting to just kind of parallel between what he's been facing now and um, what he was facing at Starbucks and what he's facing at this new company. And was all of it worth it to end up at the exact same spot? Was it worth it? And towards the end, there's a really big twist that I was like, about, where you, like I told you before, he is talking directly to us. He is foreshadowing things in the story. He's kind of letting us in. But when you get to understand his vantage point of where he's telling the story from, it's like I didn't expect it at all. And so I really loved that twist, and it definitely added another layer to the story that I think that y'all will really enjoy. So I definitely recommend reading it. It was so good. I would definitely listen to the audiobook again, more than once. Like, I need to go back and do some research and figure out who the narrator is, because I would like to read anything else that he is narrating. Like, this was amazing. And there was also a little bit of there was some romance subplot, which I did enjoy, because he did have a longtime girlfriend and they went through different trials and tribulations too. So overall, really great book, great story. I really liked it. And last but not least, the book that I have been looking forward to reading for months, Score by Kennedy Ryan. Okay, let me just show y'all. This is the Barnes and Noble copy. that I got, special edition that has the extra epilogue at the end. Um, what a beautiful book. I love this book, Miss Ryan. You never disappoint me, and I thank you for another great book. 4.5 stars. I loved it. I loved it. If you don't already own it, go buy it. If you haven't read it, read it. Okay? I don't care how you read it. You can buy the physical copy, you can get the audiobook, you can read it on your Kindle. Whatever you need to do to read it, you should read it. And I love Kennedy Ryan down bad, and I thank her for writing beautiful books with Black female leads, and love her now. Anyways, let's get into it. Um, One, telling a story with a main character who's dealing with mental health issues. I don't know if I've like where that's like the main part of their story. I don't know if I've ever read that. I can't remember right now. Y'all know I read a lot of books in my life, but um I really liked this perspective of how the story was told, and I think she did it with such care. She started out the book. I listened to this book as well. I listened to it. Um, I read a little bit of it, but majority of it I listened to the audiobook. But she started off the audiobook with an author's note that was narrated by her. Okay, and she really laid the scene of, like, of course, the trigger warnings and all that, but she said something, I can't remember exactly, but basically something along the lines of, like, she's gonna take you through there, she gonna do what it needs to be done, but she's gonna wrap everything up in the end, she's gonna take care of you, don't worry about it. And she was absolutely right about that, because I was like, what's gonna happen, I don't know. And she made everything make sense, and so I really enjoyed that. So this is a second chance romance where we have Verity and Monk. They met in college. They had a chance to kind of experience a few things together. Okay, you'll see what that means when you actually read it. I'm going to try to keep the spoilers very low. I know the book didn't come out that long ago, and I don't want to give you too much. But they experience a few things together, and they um, end up being together for a period of time. Some things go on in Verity's mental health, and she ends up leaving college, right? And so they end things on a very bad note. There's no resolution for either one of them. And then they both end up working on a project together. Now, if this book is book two in I feel like it's called the Hollywood Renaissance series. So um, I didn't know, for one, I didn't know that the book two was going to be told in the same time frame as book one, which is really great because Real is by far my favorite Kennedy Ryan book. And it was really nice to see a little peek into Neva and Cannon's story, and they're all working on the Desi Blue project together. And I just love, pause, I love the Desi Blue part of it, because in Score, it's definitely about Verity and Monk. It's their story, but we also get these little breaks where we get to see more of Desi Blue's story and how it ties into Verity and Monk's story, and it just kind of all makes sense. And it didn't feel disjointed to me. It everywhere that she placed those little parts of Desi Blue's story fed back into our understanding of Verity and Monk's story, if that makes sense. So I really love the way that she structured that. So yeah, they're working on this project together. Okay. And they are having to meet, and it's awkward. And there's been, like I said, they had a really bad breakup, if you will, a long time ago. It's been years. So there was never any conversation. He thinks one thing, she has information that is going to take her some time to share because it's very personal. It deals with her diagnosis and things that has experienced and things she had to heal and grow and learn from. And so Verity has bipolar one. I don't think that's a big spoiler. I feel like that was something that was already said. But she does a really great job of explaining that, and just showing all the different sides of it. I really feel like you got a pretty good understanding, although I do not claim to know everything about that. But I'm saying that I think she did a good job of giving us a pretty full picture of this diagnosis and what it feels like to handle it and maneuver through it and manage it. So I really think she did a good job of that as well. And I feel like, as a reader who, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know a ton, I think I left the story learning something and understanding a little bit more about what bipolar is and how it can show up. But yeah, so they're working on this story, and through their time on the story, they may or may not end up reconnecting, and I'll leave it at that. All right. But overall, I think the love story was obviously there. I felt the sweep me off my feet romance feelings that I love to get from a Kennedy Ryan book. You're gonna get that. You're gonna get lovely spice. Okay, very spicy. There was a couple moments I was like, oh, I didn't, I didn't expect that, Miss Ryan. But well done, of course. This is one little note that I just loved. So, one of Verity's favorite movies is Brown Sugar, and that's one of my favorite movies. And so, when I realized what was going on there, I was very, very excited. And I love the way that she kind of just sprinkled in different things that had to do with brown sugar, and they got to watch it and they got to talk about it. And a lot of my favorite moments from those movies were discussed, from that movie, excuse me, was discussed. And I just like felt like I was watching it again, and it makes me want to watch it. So maybe I'll do that soon. I watched it like 2 months ago, but I feel like I need to run it back. If you haven't seen Brown Sugar, what is you doing? It's a great movie. It's fabulous. Okay, it's hip hop. It's black love. Okay, it's funny. My divorce. Like, come on. Anyways, so I really enjoyed any moment that was surrounding that, and I just love Verity even more because she has taste. She's a woman of taste. Okay, but anywho, overall, I could say a lot more about this book, but I don't want to spoil it. I want to give you guys more time to read it. And I know, like I said, I'm sure there are lots of other reviews out there where they're giving a lot more detail, but I just can't. I can't do it. But like I said before, I do recommend that you read it. It was an awesome book, and I believe book 3 comes out next year. Don't quote me on that. I'm just hoping for the best. I'm hoping for that. But if she takes a couple years, it's fine, girl. Whatever you need to do, I will be patient. I think there's still a few more of her books that I realize I haven't read, so I'm gonna go back. A lot of her older books, I'm about to go back and read more of those, just because now I'm gonna be going through withdrawals. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. But I really recommend that you guys read it. Love Kennedy Ryan Down. That's it. That's all. Uh, but anyways, like I said to y'all at the beginning of this video, I do have a couple books that I'm in the middle of. So I am currently still reading All Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. I like it. It's just a little dark, and so I guess I just wasn't in the mood for it. I thought I was, or maybe, and I was maybe when I started it, but like because I took too long to read it. Now I'm not really in the mood for it, so I haven't picked it back up in a couple weeks. And then I also am currently reading "And Now Back to You" by B.K. Borison. I've been wanting to read that for months. I've had it on my side table on my nightstand for like ever, and then I saw it for an audiobook, and I was like, let me get the audiobook and see if that will help me, just because that's the kind of month that I have had where I just needed to be on the go, and I haven't really had a lot of time to sit down and read. So I look forward to hopefully getting some time to do that today. It's a beautiful day here in Texas. It's hot as hell. I fear I might be going down to the pool. I don't know. And if I do, I will be reading. So hopefully I can get back into some physical books this month, because as you can see, there's still a lot of things I need to read behind me. But anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of my books that I read in May. I hope you guys have had a beautiful month of May. I hope that you had a great reading month, whether you read one book, whether you read 10 books. I hope you read something that brought some joy to your life and made you excited. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Love you so much, and have a great June.